Welcome to the Film It VFX Studios YouTube channel and the Talks Podcast show.
Guys, welcome to another Talks podcast show. And we are honoured to have Andyax on the show today from, what's your channel? I've just been thinking about a channel name, Andyax.
Yeah.
Andyax,
So the channel is Andyax, and my name is Anders. Yeah.
Anders, yeah. Sorry.
Actually, more people. If people see me on the streets, they just say, "Hey, Andyax." So people think my name is Andyax.
Yeah.
Or more people know me of Andyax than my real name. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Because my channel is called Film It VFX Studios. You imagine when people start shouting, "Hey, Film It VFX Studios!"
Yeah.
I'm so honoured to have you on the show. It's I, like many others, have been following your work over the past. Is it been nearly a decade now? Isn't it? How long have you been in YouTube now?
11 years probably. But the first videos, they were just, I don't know, joke videos, funny videos for my family and friends. There was nothing.
But what's beautiful is we've been able to see your progression from then till, the amazing stuff you're turning out now.
That's actually something that's really nice with video. You can always go back and see how you created videos before and how you involved and some things are maybe even a bit better in I think 2016 was like the best year for the channel. And I think there was something about that year. I don't know, maybe I had more time to create videos. Eskild was with us and we could just relax. Now it's more stressful because we have company to run and everything. So there's some better things in the past and some better things now. So yeah.
So you've sort of gone from being a hobbyist to taking this to the next level to being something serious.
Yes, that's the thing. When people started commenting on the videos, like asking for, well, what kind of camera did you use here? And I didn't even know that foreign people would see the videos because it was in Norwegian to begin with. And then I started making videos about explaining in English about the equipment. And then, more people saw the videos because I started titling them in English. And then, it just grew and it grew. And I didn't expect I didn't know that would happen actually, that people would follow and see the videos.
So let's go back to the beginning. How for you did it start? When did you think to yourself, right, I want to make a YouTube channel, I want it to be based around creating short films and maybe feature films. How did it all begin for you?
I think it started where me and my friend Eskild, we didn't go out partying that much in the weekends. When we were 16, a lot of people were drinking, going out partying, but we weren't that much into that. So we were often sitting home just trying to find out different ways to create funny videos. And we found some effects in photo booth. We can make your mouth really big. And we just really enjoyed acting. So we started recording ourselves, and we thought the videos became really hilarious. So we thought, okay, let's just share this with our friends. And the best platform at that time was YouTube. So we shared the videos with friends and family, and then people started commenting on English, where the transition to more of the English channel started. And filmmaking has always been my hobby, and also the only work I actually had. My only income from I was 16 has been filmmaking, except for 1 month, I was a football referee for young people, 10-year-olds football players, which was not something for me because you have to be really strict. And I remember the fathers, especially the fathers on the sideline, they were just so angry all the time, especially when you have a kid that kicks another player and you say you can't do that or else you have to leave the pitch. And then the father became so angry. So I get affected by that. So I stopped becoming doing refereeing in the football and just continued filmmaking. And that's the thing I've done. And started sharing things on YouTube, how I made films. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. It's a lovely story. So let's, because I really want to talk about distance because that literally blew my socks off. the BTS on that is basically all on your channel.
That's right. We actually we started first with Patreon. That's
Yep.
like this external page where people can contribute money to the channel every month, and they can get exclusive stuff. And because we saw that we didn't earn that much money on YouTube, even though we have many thousand views, it's not enough to cover the time we used on making films. And especially now we get older, up to 30 years old, you really need some income. And so we tried Patreon, where people could support, and that worked really well. But the thing with Patreon is like it requires a lot of work to make exclusive stuff, of course, and you have to go into an external page and link to YouTube. And then I understood that YouTube also had their own kinds of contribution or memberships thing. So I just enabled that to see if people will more easily join there than going to an external page. So I think we're going to slowly transform over to only YouTube memberships, so we can just focus on one place.
Yeah,
that's also where
it is. I mean, it is difficult. I mean, I do YouTube, and like you say, you don't earn a lot from doing YouTube videos. I think most of the pennies, shall I say, that we earn on the channel go straight into productions, into films. And even if it's being able to buy the lunch for the crew, it's still a little bit of something that everything sort of helps. So I want to go back to your previous films that you've done. But like I just said, I was blown away. I mean, I got the big box of Distance.
Thanks.
It was fantastic, as you know. It was fantastic. The idea of Distance, because I do know, watching your channel, that you were a big fan of creating sort of fantasy films. How did Distance all come about?
Yeah, I've always been interested in we call it in Norway genre films, where you have like science fiction or fantasy, where you have films that has to involve VFX and kind of create your own worlds, like where you can dream away from the real world. And Lord of the Rings, of course, has always been an inspiration. And now, as we started Views, the film production company, we have a team. We have a YouTube channel where we can publish things, and there's a lot of followers that are ready to see new stuff. And I thought that, okay, could it be an idea to now try to make a fantasy film? Because it requires a lot, but I think we have the aspects or the crew and the collaborations to actually make this. So that whole thing actually started by a YouTube channel commenting on a video we had. And they were called Nerdforge and had this little check mark on them. So I just had to check their channel because
they're
when they have a check mark.
They're massive. Are. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I checked them, and they made fantasy props. So I was like, okay, is this a hint? Or no, not a hint, but is this a kind of a coincidence? And then I checked their like about or description of the YouTube channel, and they were from Norway. And I was like, whoa, they're from Norway. And they were actually not far away, like half an hour drive.
Wow.
And they had been following our channel. So I thought, I've also been told that you should do some collaborations.
Yeah.
Because that's really good. You can just, collaborate and send followers to each other. And if they like the content, of course. So they said, yes, let's make something together. And then I randomly met a really professional actor in Norway that was really interested in joining a fantasy film. I just pitched the idea for him.
Yeah.
And then we had also, I just randomly came across a horse channel or Instagram channel on the TV channel in Norway. And she had some horses and a lot of nice, photographer stills of her and her horse with fantasy costumes. So I just called her and asked, do you want to join a fantasy film? And she said, of course, yes. And she was actually a fan of the horse film. I made actually a horse film in 2011.
What a beautiful film. I've seen it. It is an
you've seen it? Wow.
Yes. I'm a fan. Do you know what I mean?
I'm impressed that you've seen that film. Where did you see that?
A friend of mine had it. I think he had it on a DVD or something.
Oh, really?
And then I started, obviously, this was years ago. Then I started following you, and he said, check out the film. And he lent me the film, and I watched it, and it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Oh, Well, thanks. I assume it has had English subtitles, so we could understand.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's because it's in Norwegian.
Yeah.
But that film was a low budget, and it actually won like the biggest award in Norway, the best children's movie.
Did it look like a low budget film?
Oh, it was like in Norway, a low budget film is under 100,000 euros.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean but I'm sorry, under 1 million. If it's under 1 million euros, that's low budget in Norway. If it's a feature film. For me, that's a huge budget, but in the film industry in Norway, that's kind of a low budget, they say.
Yeah.
I think it was around 800,000 euros, the budget for that film. But back to distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, this horse expert that I found on the TV channel, she wanted to join, and she was a fan of the horse movie. She had watched it like it's now, I don't know, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so she wanted to join. And then we had horses, we had someone to make the props, we had an actor, professional actor, and we had a team. We had Views production company we have with equipment. So I thought, okay, now we're going to do this.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to shoot before the winter. The autumn in Norway is really nice. So I thought, okay, we have to have some dates. Let's do end of September. So that was the goal. And we had to shoot that dates either way. Like we didn't have an idea for the film. So we had to make an idea, and it was only 2 months until shoot.
Yeah.
So we just come up with some ideas, and then wrote a script, and then we went out shooting. And one important thing, like you've seen the behind the scenes, but we really needed some budget, because making a film this size with over 40 people involved, it requires food, it requires traveling, and we had to use 2 months in post-production. But we didn't get any funding, and I was so convinced. I thought someone would sponsor us. We got a little bit from Godox, the lamp company, but that was for the behind the scenes to show their lamps and stuff. But for the film itself, like zero budget. So it kind of, my CEO Morten Rustad, the CEO of Views, he was like, we can't shoot it this without the budget. We're going to use 3 months on this with several people from Views that gets a regular payment from Views. But we had involved so many people, we were ready, so we just had to narrow down shooting days. I think we shot in 5 days or 6 days, and so that was a bit stressful, but we managed to do it.
Yes, you did.
And now it's out.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful film.
Thanks.
It's if you've not seen it, guys, I will post a link in the description below. Plus all the, I'll Anders' YouTube channel. If you don't know who Anders is and you're a filmmaker, then I don't know what we can do to help you guys. You know what I mean? But it's an absolutely beautiful film. I do recommend you check it out, and also invest in the big box, because it's got a lot of cool stuff in that big box.
Thanks. I appreciate you saying that, because it was a zero budget, so we had to find one way at least to both share more content, because we had the behind the scenes, the Making a Film Company series about how we made the film. That
was awesome.
But there were a lot of other stuff which we actually didn't want to share publicly, because it would spoil some of the film. And also, like, one of the things in the big box is how we made 30 demons. And like, demons there's only one guy. Thomas, our composer, is the demon.
Watching Thomas fall over constantly was hilarious.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. We did not want to show people those bloopers, because
but they're the funniest bits.
Yeah, and so that's the kind of why we included it in this box, so people can get it afterwards. Because if we were to publish this before the film was released, for example, or afterwards, when people see the demons in the film, they'll probably start laughing, and that was not the idea of that scene. So we saved the bloopers for the Distance Big Box, including a podcast. We always wanted to make a podcast, so we talk about the project and some other goodies like VFX breakdowns and a lot of things that we thought, if people like the film and they want to support us a little bit, we have this box where you can get exclusive stuff. So I'm glad you enjoy it.
We're in the process of shooting the film, as you know, and we work on a very, very low budget. So I know how difficult it is to sort of acquire funding. But what personally I have found, and I'm in a big city, it is the power of voice, asking people. is all you got. But I often think by what you just told us about distance and how it all came together, maybe that was destiny. Maybe that was Eskild looking down on you and saying, right, you need to make this film, and I'm going to make it easier for you to get this film made. You know.
That's also like a crazy thing. I don't know. Many people don't believe in.
I do.
Supernatural things, but it's so strange. Every Eskild, for those of you who don't know, Eskild is one of my good friends, and he passed away 3 years ago. He was a huge part of the channel, and almost every time where we're shooting an important project and we need good weather. In Norway, it can suddenly start raining and everything. And there's so many times where it's supposed to be rain and we have to shoot, and suddenly just rain disappears. And if you've seen the behind the scenes of the distance, it happened. I was like, I get goosebumps when I talk about this. It's just,
it broke a lot of people's hearts when we lost Eskild. When it was one of the saddest days because he was such. He was a beacon of fire. He was a beacon of joy in the channel.
It was.
And I miss it. And I'm someone from London, sort of looking in, and I miss him very much. So it must must be very upsetting for you guys. But he's with you, and that's all that matters.
I feel he's with us, and that's a good feeling. And it's just I believe he's with us, and that just believing a bit that you get a good feeling, and then that's good. And and the interesting thing is that when he passed away, there were so many messages that I received in my email, and even Philip Bloom, he shared that Eskild had passed away, and I didn't know that Philip Bloom actually knew who Eskild was, and if Eskild knew that Philip Bloom had watched his videos, I don't know, maybe that could make him really happy. So, we just received so many messages, and we created this memory video.
It was beautiful.
I was like, at that time, I was so it warmed our hearts, of course. And
I'll tell you a little story. I was in LA when you posted the video, and when the hotel was having problems with the Wi-Fi, we couldn't get the internet. And then Friday we got the internet, and I see your video pop up, and I thought someone was playing a prank, and I was angry. I was really, because I couldn't believe it. I was when I saw, because you just see the thumbnail, just your thumbnail, and I was like, someone's winding me up here. And I clicked on it, and I saw you at the start of the video, and I cried. Even my missus ran in and said to me, "What's the matter?" I said, "You won't," because she doesn't watch YouTube. She doesn't follow that. So it was, but he's so well loved, and that's what's important. He's so well loved.
Yeah, and all the messages and everything. I knew all his friends and everyone really enjoyed his humor and joy and energy. And I didn't expect that people that watched the videos even felt that much about his energy. So that just also I realized that we have to continue the channel as well, because there's so many people who get inspired. And that, even though, let's say there's 10,000 people who watch the video, and there's like 100 comments, and then you think that there's only 100 people who actually was affected by or inspired by the video because they comment. But there's so many people who doesn't say anything or doesn't comment, even though they got really inspired.
From Kenya.
From India.
I'm from Cardiff.
We are from Indonesia.
Brazil.
Poland.
Cyprus.
Italy.
From Slovakia.
I'm from Switzerland.
And we are from Iceland.
We learned a lot from Eskild's videos.
And he inspired us a lot.
Yeah.
So you have no idea of how much of an inspiration you have.
Just want to say that you two are my inspiration.
To me, Eskild was a real inspiration.
We have learned so much things from him.
Eskild, you inspired me to go outside and shoot movies.
When I started my journey as a filmmaker, I found Eskild's channel on YouTube, and I learned a lot from him. We started talking on Facebook, and we became friends.
And I just want to say thank you, Eskild, for helping me out when I needed some help.
He also complimented on some of my own short films that I've done and gave me feedback, and it was just amazing.
And I guess I can say that for anyone he met, anyone he ever met, he made an impression because he was genuine. He made people happy.
Etter allerede. You better not upload this to Facebook.
I don't mean that people should comment or say something, but after his passing, I could really see that there were a lot more people that was inspired than I thought. And that also shows us that, you know, people are watching, people are looking, even though you don't see it yourself.
I just thought he was a testament to the channel. And, you know, we just got to keep his memory alive, because the funniest part of Eskild was when he was doing the camera hack. And I'm British, and he was doing the British accent.
You always do that, yeah.
You know, that's Eskild through and through, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the camera hack, because another amazing short film.
Thanks. That's also an interesting process. We had a behind the scenes on that one as well. Also an idea that was a bit crazy, like making kind of a...
What a great idea.
You know, I'm quite happy with the idea. I'm a bit proud of that.
You should
idea,
be.
Actually. Yeah, it's. I think I'm, just to brag a little bit, I think I'm good at coming up with ideas. I'm not a good writer, but I think ideas. So if you are a writer there somewhere looking now, we need writers.
I write.
So
I write.
You're right. Nice. So no, I like the idea, and yeah. Also, a fun fact is that I actually lived in Seattle when I was 2 until I was 4, and one of my neighbors were a Native American. And I become my best friend there, and I was really interested in the Native American history, and there I realized that there was someone who said that some Native Americans believed that their souls actually were captured by cameras if they were taken a photo of. So I thought it was an interesting thing, and that was kind of the idea behind the film. That what if that is true? It's just when someone take a picture of you, it's really small part of your soul that is captured, and you get it back being in the sunlight. Like let's say sunlight gives you back your soul or your light in a way. But what happens then if the camera becomes so strong that it captures your whole body, the whole soul at once? So it gets actually disappears into the camera. So that was the interesting little thing, and we thought about combining our channel and who we are, like Eskild and me, being ourselves, like mix that into this story, because we like cameras and everything. And
I love that. I love that, because I know, you know, G8.4, you know, has been your baby for many, many years. I'm actually using a G8.5 as a webcam now.
Yeah, you are. I'm using the EVA 1 actually.
Yeah, well, all right, mate. But
he was just standing here.
I was using one of them, you know, them old GorillaPod tripods.
Yeah.
And it broke. So now I'm actually using a DJI Ronin as a gimbal in front of mine. Yeah. It works. You know, it works.
Yeah, it works. That's the thing. As long as it works, that's...
So the camera hack, fantastic. Absolutely amazing.
Thanks.
Eskild was so great in that film. I have to talk about Eskild's performance in that film. I have to talk about, you know, my favourite scene is when the guys are driving towards the house and he's looking out the window. That whole scene, you know, it's such a great scene. I think it's just a testament to the friendship you both had. You both really, really bounced off each other, and I thought that was just incredible. So I want to talk about views now, because obviously, you know, I followed all the behind-the-scenes videos of you starting a production company, which I will post a link in the description as well, guys, if you've not seen it.
Yeah, cool.
When did you sort of sit down and think to yourself, do you know what? I want to take this to the next, because it is a big ask. It is a big commitment.
Yeah.
You know, starting a production company, not knowing whether the business is going to come in.
Yeah, we
Tell
had
us
to
about
really
that.
rely. Yeah, I'm again, as I said earlier in this video, that I've been working with films since I was 16. I had a lot of contacts during those years. I don't know, you get contacts and you just have to keep in touch with them, so you can, they get to give you new projects once in a while. So I knew I had quite a lot of at least earlier clients that I could bring into this company. So we knew we could have some projects. But the thing it started was that I was kind of tired of sitting alone as a freelance, sitting home. I didn't have an office. I had my cats like jumping on the keyboard, and it was like I was just sitting there in my underwear almost because I was at home.
That's
I
the way
got
we
a
do
bit
it.
tired, and yeah, and also when you're working creatively, sometimes you can't really know yourself whether, let's say, a font is good enough or not. Like, does this font work? So having someone to just ask, does this work? And they say yes. You don't need to use a whole day just to fine tune small details, which often you criticize yourself. So I think being a bit tired sitting alone at home, I wanted to find someone to work with so we could sit together at an office. And I thought, okay, office, that's expensive, you have to rent it. But if you are a group of people, you can share that expense, and it doesn't become that expensive anymore. So I asked 6 of my friends that I met during my years of filmmaking and asked them if they want to join. And an interesting part was that they all had like their own aspect of filmmaking. Like Morten, he's a time lapser. And we have Nikolai, he's an animator. Dimitri is a drone pilot, which I actually met through the Camera project.
Oh, wow.
And we had Marius, a sound designer that actually did the sound design on the Horse film in 2011. And those people, in addition to Eskild, and we joined and came together, and we started a production company. We just had to go and let's just do this, because if you use too much thinking about it, suddenly it just fades away. So we had to okay, let's do this. And we came across an office in the center of Oslo, which was just a coincidence. It was just perfect for us, but we didn't have any money. So actually I was sitting on the train and I had to reply the same day if we were to have the office or not, because there was 20 people interested in that office. Because I knew the one who was going to rent it out. I was kind of the first in line to get it, but I had to answer that evening. So I was sitting on the train. I was like, okay, sometimes you just have to go for it. And if the other views team doesn't manage to share the expensive, I know that Morten was with me. So I said to Morten, you know what, let's just share the expenses, us two in the beginning, and we'll try to find other freelancers as well to rent with us. And that's what we did. So I called and said, we'll take the office. It was in the center of our capital, Oslo, and it had the option to have a studio like here, and equipment rooms and everything. It's a bit old. It's like a really old building, so the floors are really skew, and it's like
a fine wine. It ages gracefully.
Yeah, I really enjoy it there. It's like an inspiration place. Actually, it gives more inspiration than having just a really typical modern office. I really like it here.
Do you think it helps with your creativity? Because I know you just mentioned, you're sitting at home, you're on your own, you're thinking, right, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. Is this the right move? So having a company, having everyone around you amplifies your creative vision.
Yes, and the thing is that not everyone maybe fits together, so you have to find someone that is like balancing you in a way. So Morten, for example, he's really not pessimistic, but he's realistic in a way, and I'm really optimistic. So I'm like, yes, we'll do this, and like the fantasy film, for example, I was like, yeah, we'll get some sponsors, of course. But he was like more, we really need to check and double check and triple check. And he does the paperwork and stuff, and I'm more of the creative, optimistic, crazy guy. So we kind of balance each other, and that's good. And of course, we can ask each other if there's something, and they can get the instant reply. Of course, there's some disadvantages as well when you are starting a company with friends, especially. It's when you start to talk about the salary or the income of each person every month, like how much are you gonna earn, how much I'm gonna earn, because some of us has been working as like myself, been working in the film industry for so many years, and some has just started some years ago, and some people are needed all the time. Like I can do directing, cinematography, editing. I can kind of do the whole thing, while someone like an animator like Nikolai, he might only do like animation. So if you don't get any animation projects, do we have enough money to hire him? So it's kind of we had to find a balance where someone can do a little bit of different things, not do only one thing, but of course they have their one main focus, but they also help out with editing, project coordinating. Of course, you need to vacuum clean the place and all that stuff as well. So finding a nice balance, and then you have to have a leader, of course, a CEO that can delegate and like know that people are doing their work, and yeah, of course, and also there's a lot of paperwork, and that sometimes can kill the creativity. So it's important to know that someone takes care of that, so another one can do the creative things and don't need to think too much about the paperwork. And
it seems like a very warm environment. It seems when we watch you on the channel and you're all doing your bits and pieces, it seems like you're all brothers just working together to achieve the same goal. That's the way it looks to me,
Yeah, people ask us like, okay, what's your goal of the company? And some would say, grow this and this every year in income. But we're like, as long as we can come here and we have the money to pay the rent and we have the money to survive, we are enjoying our time a lot. That's our goal, which is a bit not like a non-business type of thinking. So actually now we're looking at we are 4 now, that are fully employed people, and we really would like to hire more, but then we of course need more money. So we have to think more business, and that's why also we are looking at maybe collaborating more with a business person who's not that much into creative.
Because we was talking on the video with Ryan, he was talking about collaboration, how important it is to try and do as many collaborations as possibly can. I get very nervous because, the film we're doing at the moment, we've been approached for a series on it on Netflix, and it was a case of, but I want to make 2 chapters of this movie. We're in the middle of making chapter 1. But I won't be happy until we make them 2 chapters. Yeah. Okay. So Netflix were like, no. We want to make this purely into a series. And I'm like, but that's not my vision.
Yeah.
And that's quite scary for me. How, if you was to say, for instance, someone was to come to you, my point is, if someone wants to come to you and say to you, right, we want you to direct, the next stage of Lord of the Rings, for instance, films. Yeah, but we only want you, but we don't want the rest of the team. Where do you go with that? Because obviously you've got I've got all my cast and crew like they're like my brothers. I could never do that. How do you feel about that? I mean, where do you go?
That's a good question. Actually, as you know, my birthday was yesterday, and
yes, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. I turned 33. Actually, there's a lot of people that think I'm in 20s, but it's 33.
You do look young. I'm nearly 50.
I think I wouldn't expect you to be 50. I would think like 40.
Nearly. I'm on the brink.
Okay.
Yeah. So go on. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah. No, but I met Thomas just to celebrate a little bit with him, and he asked me, Anders, if you were asked by Hollywood now to direct a film there, would you go? And I said no, like immediately, because what's important for me is having the people around me. It's just that I think it's about what you've gone through in your life. Like when we did make the feature film in 2011, which was a huge project. It was shown in the cinemas all over Norway, in other countries, and it took 1.5 years to make. I realized during that process that, okay, feature films has been my dream to make, and now I've been through that now, and what I'm really enjoy in my life is making casual videos with Eskild and my friends. And of course, you can't earn enough money by just making casual videos, but trying to turn those funny not funny, but enriching moments with your friends, making creative films. If you can turn that into getting income from doing that, that would be my dream, actually. And then views is kind of a part of that, because we get a lot of projects about, there's someone who wants to make a video about how can you eat more vegetables, for example, because that's healthy. And sometimes they just give us the whole we can just come up with anything. And that's when you can just use creativity and together create something that has a message, but you can do it a bit casually and intuitive. And that reminds me of how Eskild and I made YouTube videos. So that's really nice projects, I believe, and that's what's so enjoyable of working in views. But it's not always like that. Some say we have to make a video like this and this and this, and I just have to do it. But yeah, that's part of life. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't think I would say yes if I had to leave my friends and crew. But of course, sometimes I'm feel really lucky because we have enough income here at Views to actually work here. We don't need to say yes to everything. But you don't know. Like in the middle of this year, maybe we don't have any income, and you have to say yes to things where you have to leave your friends for a while. It's a bit hard, of course.
Yeah, I've always been. Sorry, I've always been. I totally agree with what you're saying, because I've always been. If you want me, you want whoever's with me as well. We come as a package.
Yeah. Because you are the best when you are with the people you love and like, because that just makes you even, I don't know, you feel safe. You feel that you can take some risks, maybe because you have your back, people backing you up, and people like big distribution companies or big production companies that ask you should see that if you leave what you are usually had around you, maybe that could be a bit risky as well, because then you get into something that is not familiar with you for you. But again, it's really hard to make films where you can just have fun and be with friends. That's we were just lucky to be able to do that now. But it's also after a lot of hard work. It's been many years of filmmaking to come to this point. So it's about just making a lot of films, experience, and meeting people, contacts. Yeah.
So I've had a couple of people wanting to ask some questions. I've been putting some questions out on social media they want to ask you.
Oh, cool.
Chris asks, are you genuinely a Panasonic fanboy?
You know what? I can admit that throughout my life, I've been I really liked underdogs. Panasonic has nothing to do with underdogs, but I really like things that that most people like. And when Panasonic GH4 came out, of course that was everyone wanted that camera.
Yeah.
So that was kind of not in that thinking, but I had to buy the GH4 because it was so good. It's so much value for that camera. So that's why I bought it to begin with. I had used Canon before, like 3 different Canon cameras. So I really enjoyed Canon, but then Panasonic GH4 came out, I just had to buy it. And then I kind of stick to Panasonic because, I don't know. I just people after GH4 and GH5, people just started talking about Blackmagic, Red, Sony. And that was the camera everyone was talking about. And I don't like cameras that are not talked that much about, especially then after, I think it's like when we got the EVA 1 that we have now.
Yes.
I think that was like in a time where most people bought Blackmagic and Sony cameras and Red cameras. So I looked at the Panasonic cameras, like, this is not a lot of people have this camera. Let's buy this. Yeah. It was good. Of course, it has to be good. And I love the color science of Panasonic cameras, especially the more high-end EVA 1, and I like that color science as well.
They do nice kit. I mean, I bought the GH5. I'm not actually putting it to its paces in a film yet, because we're actually using the Blackmagic Micro cinema camera. Now, this is obviously a 1080p camera. Yeah, but what I love about it is the color science. I love what it, the look. It looks incredible. And I'm very old school when it comes to filming. That I don't want it too sharp. I like, that. What's the word I'm looking for? Sort of artifacts in the picture.
Yeah, a bit organic, maybe. Like it feels. Feels real in a way.
Yeah. Almost trying to. I think most of us are just trying to impersonate film, rather than go.
Yeah.
But it's weird though, isn't it? Don't you find that weird that we've got a far superior format, which is digital? It looks a lot cleaner than film. Yeah. We're trying to replicate that. We're trying to go backwards.
I think it's. We made a video that's called "Explaining the Film Look," I believe. We talk a bit about this, and I think it's natural for us humans to see things that are organic. When you see plants or trees or soil, I don't know. It's never. There's almost never like straight lines, and it's not often very sharp, and everything that's natural for us is more organic and I don't know, just my idea or thinking of this, that it's if things gets like too sharp and too how do you say this, that doesn't have kind of dust to it or it feels maybe a bit artificial in a way.
Rob Zombie, do you know Rob Zombie, the director? I think he did the remakes of Halloween. Rob Zombie and Devil's Rejects. I think I was watching a behind the scenes of his Halloween film. I recommend check it out if you can. It's on YouTube. It's about an hour and a half long. It's fantastic. And he's, you would expect him on films like that to use Arri Alexa or Red or a big production camera, but he didn't want to. He's using literally off-the-shelf cameras to make these movies because he actually turned around and said, listen, if I can see someone's nose hairs, I'm not interested.
I
don't want an image so much, so clean that I could see the hairs in someone else's nose. That's not what I'm about.
Yeah.
So what was your? I mean, obviously you've used the GH4 a lot for your film, and that's what. Sorry, to do most of your short films. Am I correct in that?
Yep.
And what I'm trying to say is I'm a strong believer in it's not what you use, it's how you use it.
Yeah, of course. That's I truly agree. And that's just, there are videos on YouTube that has millions of views that are shot with a phone. Like, it may be not a good example, but there are like, those, let's say, crash videos, crash caught on tape,
yes.
Cars crashing into each other. People really enjoy seeing that because even though it's shot with a really bad car camera.
Yes.
As
a dash cam.
It's dash cam, yeah. It's interesting to see because there's a lot of things happening. There's like something nice with the content. And so I believe if the quality doesn't distract you away from the story or doesn't like you're sitting there like, wow, this is so poor quality that you actually lose grip of the story. If you don't think that, it's good enough. And again, as you said, how you operate it, how you use it, that you have a good enough light and
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of people, really messaging me saying, listen, I really want to get into filmmaking, but I don't own this camera or I don't own this and I don't own that. And I keep saying to them, have you got a mobile phone? We all have a mobile phone. You know, you could get a mobile phone, free software, editing software. Even DaVinci Resolve's got free editing software out now. Just go out and create something. And that's what that's what I believe anyone can do it.
And why do you my family once in a while they bring back the VHS cassettes to watch from we were young, the videotapes of when we grew up, and they sit there and cry. And why do they do that? It's captured with a VHS camera, like really poor quality, but they cry because there are stories in those clips that they really feel emotional about. So if you can catch the emotion of other people through your story, you can make them cry, even though it's an old VHS camera or something. So Yeah, there's no doubt.
What advice would Andyax give to anyone watching if you was a bit, you wanted to create a short film, because obviously I class you as one of the masters of short film telling. What advice would you give to someone who just wants to go out and create, but they're too worried, they're too scared to do so because they don't have the GH5, they don't have the Evo 1, they don't have the Red? What would you say to them?
No, it's a cliche, but it's just use what you have and go out and start shooting. The thing with good cameras or new cameras is that it's easier to do effects with the cameras because they can, like a phone camera, you often not have different lenses, so you can't zoom in, you can't do super wide angle and stuff, so you have to stick with one type of lens, which then makes it a little bit more difficult to do certain types of effects. And you don't have a microphone input or something on your phone, so it's a bit harder to do the sound recording. But why we have the EVA 1, like, for example, for the Views company, because we do so many films and we have to every time know that we can, in the most efficient way, create the best possible quality for the customer. Well, we could use a phone, and it's just that you have to think a little bit more creatively, and you have to think a little bit more about the challenges that will come when you use a phone camera, for example. So also, like, if you're filming green screen, you often need high bit rates, maybe 4K, to be able to remove the green screen. But other than certain types of effects, you can use whatever camera you want. And again, as long as the quality isn't so poor that people are like thinking about the poor quality all the time. As long as you can see what's happening, and as long as you got sound that is decent. And this is interesting because I was supposed to make a video about shooting short films with my phone, like Samsung S6, I believe I used. And I've edited that movie. I just was waiting to upload it and I forgot it and I didn't finish it up. But there I talked about this, and also that you can use, like, say, on the Samsung, for example, S6, the microphone is so good, it's crazy. Of course, it doesn't capture a good sound quality from far distance, but when you record close to you, you get really nice sound. So sometimes, you can do, if you think a little bit more creatively, you can do, for example, if two people are talking with each other in the wide angle, of course, you don't get good sound with a phone. But then just do the scene one more time, only recording the sound of the people talking, and you just then add the sound to that shot and try to, of course, it can be a bit tricky to make it sync perfectly, but just do it a couple of times and then you will match it, and then it sounds like, whoa, have you used a sound recording device for this? No, it's my phone. So knowing what your phone can do and thinking a bit differently, it might take some more time to create all the effects you need, but you have what you need to do most things. So
I think more and more phones are becoming more and more, the quality is getting exceptional with mobile phones now. It's getting frightening.
That as well, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, if you add, plugins, app plugins to them, they can help as well. So I've got another question for you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, like Filmic Pro, for example, the app, which makes you shoot with lower contrast, so you can do more in post, higher bit rates. That's actually something I'm talking about Filmic Pro, talking with Filmic Pro right now. Brilliant. About maybe creating a video about for them about shooting with the phone. So we'll see what. Yeah.
Coming to videos, I've got a question from James. He asks, "Are we ever going to see a horror short from Andyax?" Horror.
I
think that'd be so cool. That'd be so cool.
But you know what? We have the part of a video. There's often on the channel we are testing out, let's say, lamps. We have a Canon 300D video where we test out that lamp, and then we made a little horror movie actually as a part of the video. So it's somewhere inside that video, like in the middle or something. There's like a little short film, not really intuitive short films, like we did on the go. But yeah, my friend Nicolina, if you have seen the behind the scenes of Distance, she's like asking me so many times, Anders, you have to make a horror movie, because she really enjoys horror movies, and we should do that. I just I'm not like a big fan of horror movies, but we could probably make it a little bit sci-fi or something to make it.
I think that would be awesome if you went full on slasher, because that would be like, and then put Distance and that film together, and it's like, what a difference in storytelling.
Yeah,
because you have been unique. Silhouette, your Silhouette film.
Oh yeah.
Oh, do you know what I mean? Was mind blowing.
That's a film I'm quite proud of, actually. So
let's make it official. Let's make it official. And
that
it's good to horror.
Yeah, like a slasher. I really don't enjoy slasher movies, so we'll see about that. But maybe horror, like a psychedelic horror or something. We'll see.
Like a Conjuring sort of thing.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
Conjuring, Annabelle. So, one final question: what is next? What can we expect next from Andyax?
That's a good question. That's a good question. We have our Views production company. We have to do a lot of projects here. So sometimes, like January, February now, we're using all our time just doing those projects, which are besides YouTube. But I'm thinking about it could be interesting to do. I don't know if I can say this, but I can say it probably. But I'm thinking about, because there's so many comments on Distance now that ask for a part 2.
Yes.
And teaming up with Nerdforge, maybe we could do something with it, because I think like what we did with the camera hack was to crowdfund the film. So we knew before we shot the film that we had at least some budget. So maybe teaming up with Nerdforge, we could create a crowdfunding of part 2. I don't know. That's one idea. And also maybe continue making a film company could be a good idea. But I think a lot of people ask for the typical old videos where we explain lighting and maybe like shooting with a phone. That's also a video I would like to make. And then, of course, we had. I went to Thomas, the composer, the other day, and not the other day, before Corona actually, but it feels like the other day. and he asked me, Anders, I really want to film myself at my place, and I could only see that he had spotlights in his ceiling.
Yeah.
So he wondered, how can I create soft light, good light in this environment? And I just said, do you have some like a blanket or something like white? And we just started hanging up stuff and turning off some of the bulbs, and then he was like, Anders, we should create a video about this, like just making your room with spotlights. How can you make it into a really nice soft light? And that's kind of, those videos are very popular on the channel. I think easy light setup to improve your films, something we shot many years ago. That's one of the most popular videos. So maybe like a part 2 of that.
I think your lighting videos are some of the best, because I've actually learned quite a lot from your lighting, because
nice.
Our next thing for our film, we have to light a lake.
Yeah, of course.
A whole lake. A lake? We have to light a lake, and that's going to be...
A lake, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a challenge, yes. With a boat in the middle, and it's going to be a hell of a challenge, because... Yeah, so if you've got any pointers, we're email back and forth. You can give me some pointers.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
I can just mention that I'm not a technical expert. I don't feel I'm a light expert or anything. It's just that by doing so many film projects, you cannot know how things work. Like, why does a softbox create soft light? And when you start thinking, like, why does it create, and you understand why it works the way it does, you understand more about how we can then do certain types of effects, and how we can think a bit differently to make, let's say, your lake glow up. So that's a tip, trying to understand how things work, not just buying the new stuff all the time, but if you understand how, you can even use a white mattress as a reflector or something. You don't need a reflector. You can use something white. And I think try to understand how things work. That will help.
Well, we was trying to I was coming up with the idea of basically getting a watertight box built, massive watertight box built, and put lights inside the box and put it under the water as well. and get the light shining sort of upwards. Just sort of trying to be unique and as creative as possible. I could do that digitally. I could do it digitally. But I just think if you can do it practical and then add the digital elements to it to fine tune it, that's just the best way to go. Well, you're a bit of a visual effects wizard as well, aren't you?
Oh, that's the thing. I've been working in After Effects for quite a while, and also our new employee Matthias, he's really into VFX, and Morten has done some 3D as well. So that was also a challenge we had for the distance film. How can we do the effects? Because we wanted demons to disappear, and we wanted to have, a lot of VFX. And we solved it with some help, actually, from some of the followers, which is awesome, having collaborations with the followers.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good thing. That's what we've been trying to do with the role. We've set up a little competition because we're going to have some drawings at the end of the film of the cast members. So we've put together a little competition where everyone can sort of draw a picture. It's just to help people in this mad time to, lock down, to try and bring everyone together and give them something fun to do.
Good idea. Many talented people are sitting home. They don't have any projects. Yeah.
I mean, I've been indoors for nearly 12 months. I haven't been out.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
And it's like
we just want to get back out there and just continue filming, and just get on with it. But
time will come.
Yes.
Soon.
Yes.
This summer, hopefully this summer.
Touch wood.
Yeah.
Touch wood. So
Eskild, help us.
Yes, help us. Help me as well. Yeah. I'm your friend as well. But Andyax, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. And good luck with views. I will continue following. Everything from Andyax will be posted in the description below. So please check it out. There'll be a link for everything, So go check it out and follow Andyax straight away. So thank you very much, my friend. And you're a legend.
Ha det bra, as we say in Norway. Ha det bra.
How do you say that?
Ha det bra.
Ha det bra.
Yeah.
Is that right? Ha det bra.
Yeah. Ha det bra.
Ha det bra.
It is said that we do not truly die until our third death. The first is when our body ceases to function. The second, when we enter the grave. The third death is when our name is spoken for the last time. While it is painful to imagine Eskild's life being cut so short, we have it within our hands to share the joy Eskild brought into so many lives. Into my life. Death touches each of us differently, and as painful as it is, death forces us to stop, if just for a moment, to reflect on how others influence our lives. For this is what it means to be truly immortal. Be courageous and speak out about the many kinds of struggle, even those that are hard to see. And in return, Eskild will continue to live and to feel the honor of empathy of his fellow man. My thoughts and prayers are with his family and his extended family of friends and loved ones. My name is Rick, and I am from St. Paul, Minnesota.